Still repping this stuff, like, even though I shouldn't be. You know what? Let's forget the angles. All right. What up? What up? What up? So most of y'all want to know that I used to work at a middle school called Ignite Middle School or whatever. I was the founding physical education teacher and founding health teacher, amongst other things that the administration that was very unorganized had me doing. Things that had nothing to do with my job description, things I did not know I would be involved in while I was at that school. Now, this isn't to kick them while they're down or anything like that. It's just to address something that's been an issue for a long time, and it's finally just catching up with them. Chickens are coming home to roost. So when I was there, I was a big portion of structure. I was somewhat of the disciplinarian at that school. It wasn't because I was super mean or that I abused the students in any way. It was just that I had no tolerance for foolishness, and rules were rules, and I was very stern. I stuck by the rules and what I expected of the students, and I was cool. I was one of the younger teachers, athletic and all that good stuff. So I gained the respect of my students. Like at the start, the administrative team, the principal and the AP, they had the respect of the students. But they slowly started losing the respect of the students whenever the students started realizing, things I was promised before I came to this school are not happening. As far as sports programs, actually being able to compete against other schools and all that stuff. Instead, we did little competitions where the kids would compete against each other. That's silly. That's foolishness. The kids do that at PE anyway, at recess anyway. So why would they want to join a football team or a basketball team that's just going to compete against themselves? So one thing I remember from when I was teaching there is administration wasn't really interested in ideas from its staff. And we lost a lot of good teachers due to that. And I was a teacher that there was an altercation that happened with a very senseless parent, very irresponsible with their student, with their child. The child thought that certain antics inside the classroom were okay because the parent made it seem as such. So the fact that I wasn't willing to bend to the will of what this parent wanted and what the student was doing, they caught me up by screenshotting me on my TikTok or whatever, which most of the teachers were doing it. Even my AP has a TikTok. And I know this because TikTok has this feature where if you have somebody's number and you log on to TikTok, it'll show you, hey, this person that's in your contacts has a TikTok. So I've seen my AP's TikTok. I've seen other teachers' TikTok. But for some odd reason, it was an issue when I did it. So I had to meet with some people in corporate, down, they refer to it as downtown or whatever, but basically just people that help write like the curriculum and all that good stuff. And they're like HR is involved in that building as well. So as it turned out, like I did nothing serious. It wasn't that big of a deal. They found inconsistencies with the parents' complaints about me, and they wanted me to return to work. I said I absolutely will not go back to that campus at all. And they were like, well, hey, you did go on leave. You will be paid all the way through the summer. So you can use that time to decide if this is still what you want. You'll still be stable, yada, yada. They gave me the whole shebang. So I came across a job that ended up being way more fun, way less hours, and pays me a lot more than I was getting paid as a teacher. So With that being said, I ended up resigning from the school district. Me resigning was not the required result from the administration, apparently. So rumors came about, and they had meetings about me and all this stuff, like staff meetings about me, where other teachers that pretended to be friends with me and care about me and all this stuff talk shit about me in those meetings. I'm not gonna say the names because they're not important, and the man that was involved, he's a fucking coward. So there's no point in actually going deep into that. The fact of the matter is, the situation was handled very poorly, and those are not people that should be leading and teaching students. But that's neither here nor there. The issue is, in today's time, the kids are out of control. The police are called up to the campus on a regular basis because our administration, which the principal that hired me is still there, and the principal that got an assistant principal that got hired my second or third year there is there now. And they cannot control the students. They could not even break up a fight between two little girls, and this is middle school. So a campus is only going to be as strong as its leader and the staff that he hires. Getting rid of people that would not bend to your will is a mistake. It's not something you do. You're supposed to improvise. Like, hey, let me find out why this staff member or this teacher feels so strongly about this topic, and let's consider the fact that they may actually be right, the possibility that they may actually be right. I had a falling out with, well, it was a passive aggressive falling out on his part when my first year teaching there, he promised I would get a stipend for setting up a YMCA football league and, having the kids compete there. So I gave up my Saturdays to coach the kids. Oh, no, my Friday afternoons to coach the kids, and my Saturdays and Sundays for those kids' games. So that was extra time with my family that I was not getting, and that was time for leisure that I was not getting to coach these kids and have them go compete for free. He never paid me. The principal never paid me, never got a stipend. So the next school year, I get hired by another school to coach track and field and cross country there. And I got A.W. Spence, Alex W. Spence, their first district championship in cross country because I would run with the kids and everything. So I was happy coaching there. That upset my principal at Ignite Middle School. So he took my keys to the building and my keys to my office and all this extra stuff. He made things pretty uncomfortable for me. And then my third year teaching, because it was my second year that I taught for I ended up coaching for the other school. My third year teaching there, he comes up to me one day and he was like, hey, go ahead and tell some of the other teachers that if they wanted to coach this, that, and the other, I got $20 an hour for whoever wants to do it. That was a slap in the face. Where's the money for the whole year that I gave you for free? You took time from my family. Not to mention, I had a buddy that was actually like my teacher coach, and he was a good guy. He lost his family behind that job, and the principal had no empathy whatsoever for it. Not at all. This man was working late hours, having to stay super duper late after school. Wasn't going home to his wife and kids. He lost his family behind it. His wife divorced him. And I ended up losing my family behind it. So right now what's going on is this karma. He stepped on a lot of people. So did the AP. She was a piece of shit too. The AP that got hired while I was there, he's a good guy. He's very nice, soft-spoken. He actually cared about people. So shout out to him. Y'all know who he is, the male AP. But the principal and the female AP, trash. Not good people, selfish. The only good quality I could find about them is that they were ambitious. But a lot of what needed to be done was placed on the female AP shoulders. The principal was not really good at his job at all. Not really good at his job at all. So it's no surprise to me that right now there's big group fights going on campus. I, by myself, was able to break up fights between two boys that were bigger than me. You know, middle schoolers get pretty big. And I was just the physical education teacher and the health teacher. Oh, well, athletics coach too. But I did not have more authority than the school principal or the AP or anybody for that matter. So the fact that I'm seeing videos of a man that's much larger than me and has much more authority than me not able to break up a girl fight, that's an issue. Somewhere along the lines, structure was broken. And I think that structure was broken when your best teachers left you. And now you're constantly having to replace teachers. Teaching is not supposed to be a high rollover job or a high turnover job. Teaching is a career that people retire from. We had some of the best teachers in the district working there at one point, and they left. All 3 years I was there, my students beat the district average for ACP scores by over 10% every semester. Every semester, at least 10%. 80 something and above percent passing. And over 50% of our school, over 50% of our students were SPED and 504 kids. And I still hit those numbers. So they can paint this narrative about this, that, and the other, say what they want, but at the end of the day, I'm making in 2 weeks, like just 2 weeks from one of my jobs, in cash alone, more than I was making monthly teaching for that school. And I have 2 jobs. The other job, like, yeah, it's not the biggest checks. It's probably just over $2,000 a month, but I get paid every week at that job. So that plus the job where I'm making a boatload of cash and on top of my hourly, why would I ever go back? And I work less. Wednesdays are optional for me. If I go in, I'm only on the clock for like 4 hours, sometimes only 3 hours. Thursday through Saturday, I work 2 jobs, and that's it. I work my 2 jobs back to back, and then Sunday is optional as well if I can get there in time. And if I do go in, I only end up working like 3 hours. So I'm working way less hours and making way more money, and it's 2 different jobs. It's sad how the school had good potential but failed to succeed. The school failed to succeed because it had weak leadership. And they succumbed to the will of parents. Instead of enforcing guidelines, they did whatever the parents wanted them to do because they didn't want anybody to go to those city hall meetings and talk bad about them. But I listened to those city hall meetings, and they talked bad about the school. Horrible. Ignite Middle School's name got drugged through the dirt, especially when that teacher died, when Miss Wynn died. We had a whole teacher die. And that situation was not handled correctly at all. At all. She died from COVID. And while she was in the hospital, she was being hounded by our administration to come back to work. But that type of stuff ain't gonna get put in the newspaper. They pretended to be on my side about the whole thing with the parent because it was ridiculous. I'm getting cussed out by some kid's mom, and she lies and says I cussed her out on the phone. Then, whenever the school district asked her to provide her phone records because they transcribe phone calls, so they can get everything that I said on that phone call printed out. When they asked her, "Hey, can you send in the phone records?" She refused. So I sent in my phone records. Not one time did I call that woman out of her name on the phone. In fact, she was cussing me out, and I told her, "Don't cuss at me." She did it again, and I hung up in her face. Now, had the administration did their due diligence, they would have waited for that process to be done before asking me anything else or putting me in that hallway to sit every day at school until finally I was like, I resign. I was placed on leave, paid leave. The district wanted me to go back, and I said no. Who would want to go back to that? At the end of the day, the kids deserve better. They deserve somebody who knows what they're doing. The principal does not know what he's doing. And he's going to continue to lose good teachers and good students because, I forgot to mention, every year our top students of that year ended up leaving. Every single year. We have not had a single top student go all throughout middle school at that school, except for, well, there were a couple. I won't say any names or whatever, but there were a couple that stayed, but they had no choice. They lived across the street. And like I said before, this is not to kick anybody while they're down or anything like that. It's just when you want to start something or create something, you need to make sure that it's something you can handle before you even put your hands in it or get involved. You can't just hire a strong team to help you start something and then think it's going to be successful just because you have a strong team. If you're an irresponsible leader and you're not a strong leader, that team is going to fail every time. Founding teachers left the campus. I tried to stay and pull it through for legacy, but when I realized my name was never going to be on that gym door, what am I staying here for? And the crazy thing is, I had forgot all about that life as a teacher until I saw those videos of those little girls whacking each other's brains out, and the principal can't even handle the situation. How does that happen? In no way, shape, or form is that okay. Like, this isn't one of those, I can learn from my mistakes type situations. This is horrible. I couldn't believe I never really noticed any of that during my time there. Well, on my end, you probably didn't notice because I had to keep that type of stuff to myself. I would never let my students know what's currently going on because, for one, kids are going to talk. That would have gotten right back to the principal and the administrative team, and that would have been grounds for them to actually give me some sort of like consequence. I don't like putting the ball in somebody else's court. Random meme boy. Who are you, by the way? Roll call, man. But it's funny because even to this day, like this was a while ago. Um, Like I have not taught at that school for a long time, and even to this day, I'll have somebody who I'm assuming was a an old student, but they never let me know because they hide their profiles or whatever. So it's like they don't have pictures of themselves or anything. So I never know who it is. But to this day, they will like try to, I guess, tease me and say things like, "How do you get fired as a teacher?" I wasn't fired, buddy. I resigned. A lot of people left the school. I resigned from the school district because Dallas ISD is trash. Oh, okay, you're a founding student. Well, that's good. But I honestly, I just at a certain point, somebody's gonna have to be responsible and be like, "Hey, this situation is not working out. We need to stop sending kids to this school." I'm not trying to take anything out of that man's pocket. I'm not a vindictive individual like that. That's why I haven't gone to the board myself to complain about my experience there. I moved on, made money, and got over it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. And like a lot of people can say what they want about, my well-being or what happened with the situation, but it's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, something needs to be done for those kids. I remember kind of admiring you. Well, I mean, I feel like I was a good teacher, and I feel like I was a good role model, and I actually cared about my students. I would never say the same for our administration. There was a lot of favoritism. I know that. I know that there was a couple students who, no matter what they did, I wasn't allowed to give them any consequence, and neither was any other teacher. And we had teachers leave because of that. One of the like my first year teaching there, one of the teachers was pregnant, and the boy talked about inappropriate things to this teacher and mentioned the unborn child. I'm not going to go into detail about what the kid said, but I'm pretty sure anybody who was at the school the opening year, they know exactly what I'm talking about. That's not okay. That kid should have been sent packing the moment that happened. But instead, it took him risking his own life multiple times and endangering himself multiple times by running out of the campus and ending up over by Dallas Love Field Airport for them to finally be like, okay, yeah, we got to get this kid out of here. Very smart administration, right? The mental stress I dealt with, knowing that I had to be subordinate to such incompetence, it bothered me. And just having an AP that thought she knew everything and nobody else knew anything. She did not have a degree in kinesiology, but she would argue me down about how things should work in that field. And no matter what, and she would literally like, if the conversation continues, she'd be like, okay, well, we're done talking about this. Okay, then don't ask me my opinion anymore. Then I'm giving you my expertise because that's what you hired me for. But since you already have your idea of how you want things to go, if my idea does not agree with yours or align with yours, you don't want to talk about it anymore. The woman only went to people in that category, like in their respected studies, for validation. So she can just feel like, yeah, I knew my idea was correct. I'm smart. No, you're not always right. You're not. Matter of fact, a lot of the time she was wrong. There were a lot of things that happened that did not turn out right because she was in charge of it. So many things came out wrong, but nobody was allowed to say anything. Those projects were so, like, they were never well planned. They would throw it on teachers to plan this, that, and the other and make something work. Like, we're under enough stress. We go to school, we have to start school 30 minutes earlier than every other school in the district, and we stay an hour later than every other school in the district for no extra pay. And you want to add more responsibility. Like, they would try to work us to death. Like, I'm sorry, but when people have families, working in a damn school is not going to be your entire lives. Like, I have so much free time now. My son is in his bed sleep right now. Had him all day. That would never have happened if I was at Ignite Middle School. The man didn't even care that I wasn't getting to spend much time with my son. And it kind of made me wonder, like, why does this guy have literally no empathy towards this at all? And it dawned on me, he doesn't have kids. Never follow a leader that cannot empathize with somebody who has a family. You will lose your family. The whole reason you're at the job in the first place is for your family. You will lose that working for somebody like my former principal and former AP, who pretended to care about things but didn't. Because she snaked me, she threw me under the bus and all that stuff too. Kids got thrown under the bus too. Teachers were getting written up for things that weren't their fault. Her emotions led to a lot of her actions with her authority. It's like, whatever you're going through personally, leave that crap at home. Come to work with a different mindset. Especially if you're in charge of a bunch of grown men and women. But now I make more money than both of them, so it's whatever. I honestly do feel like my AP will probably go to another school, and as long as she's under a competent principal, she'll probably end up doing well because she likes to work. So I'm pretty sure any good principal would love to find work for their AP to do. But them two together, match made in hell. They did not work well together, and I've seen her get emotional at work a lot. One good thing I can say about my principal was he was not emotional during work at all. Never seen a man cry. One of the biggest problems, and was probably one of the biggest problems at the school now, gaslighting. They would try to make you feel like something that was clearly their fault was somehow your fault. And then after they tear you down and make you feel like crap, then they want to talk about how much the school needs you and how glad they are to have you as a part of the staff. Nah, bro. You just got done telling me how horrible, I am and how I cause this, not verbatim, but in so many words. Why would I ever believe you when you say that I'm a value to the team or an asset to the team? Because that's not what your actions or your body language is saying. I just remember school was trash. I just remember like a lot of students were not happy. Not happy at all. Some people are going to take this as me just hating, but there's literally nothing to hate on. Like, I have no reason to hate on that campus. I got my own stuff going for me. And that campus is not doing well. In fact, it's getting worse and worse. I actually have genuine concern for those students, especially in light of what just happened in this state. If somebody is sick enough to walk into an elementary school and fire off that many shots and kill that many kids, they'll do the same thing in the middle school. How in the world is a principal going to be prepared for that when they can't even handle a girl fight? And I recognize a couple of those young ladies. They were sixth graders my last year teaching. I would assume that they just finished seventh grade now or eighth grade, one of them. Yeah, they just finished seventh grade. I recognize those two young ladies. Never seen them get in a fight with anybody before. Both were in my gym class at one point. I appreciate that, random meme boy. Just speaking facts, exactly. Like that mentality that says, I can do anything no matter what. That's toxic. That is toxic. That's arrogance. That principal did not go to school to be a teacher or a principal or anything like that. He got his certifications and all that stuff, but he was in a whole different career field. He failed at that and then decided wanted to open up a school. Make sure you can handle the load that you choose to carry. All this, you can do anything you put your mind to. Ain't nobody's mind strong enough these days. We got way too many things happening around us. There's no focus like that. You actually have to acquire a skill to be successful in something. I cannot just pick up a guitar and start playing today and say, hey, next month I'm gonna play at the Jazz Fest. And I'm gonna open up for some of the biggest stars in the world. Matter of fact, they're gonna open up for me. That's insane. Everybody needs baby steps. Baby steps were not taken to open that school, and promises were made way before those promises could be fulfilled. Because as far as I'm hearing, there's still no real athletic program there at all, and they're still not competing in UIL, not UIL, URL. Shoot. And I know I'm very aware of how many people are gonna see this and probably feel a type of way, but it is what it is. Something's got to give. And this situation that's happening at Ignite Middle School is trash. It's pure trash. It's not okay. The things people were saying in those town hall meetings about us. I mean, the audios went on for like a couple of hours. You know, different people from the community were getting up and speaking their mind. Other people that work for the district, like people that work for the school district, had an issue with Ignite Middle School. And I worked there. I'm telling you guys, yes, it was horrible. Like it got to a point where even the mother of my child felt like I was putting that job over my own well-being. She told me I do everything they ask. And as much as it hurt my pride, I can't find the lie. I gave up my weekends for Christ's sake. Time with my family to coach some kids for free. We ended up winning that league. We ended up being the number one team in that league. Did I get a congratulations from my principal? No. Did I get any type of award for it? No. Stipend? No. Nothing. As a matter of fact, I was asked to print out awards for the athletes I coached. And they couldn't even give us quality paper to do it on. It was like this colored craft paper. And I had to find like fancy writing and all this stuff to make for the kids. Complete trash. In the midst of all the troubled kids we had on that campus, we had some of the smartest kids in Dallas at that school too. And they probably felt underappreciated. Had this one talented young man. I was training him in boxing. He's a musician, like he can drum, he can play instruments, smart kid. He's up at the school fighting because he has no way to release tension and testosterone. The only time he was getting a release was when he was training with me because his parents wanted me to teach him how to box. That was all he was getting. And when he didn't have that, all he had was drumming. That kid was fighting. One of the smartest kids I know. Pretty freaking annoying, but very intelligent, very talented. Deserved so much better than Ignite Middle School. And I thank God he got into the high school that he got into. Like, and I really don't mean for any of this to sound like hate of any sort, but I do hate what's going on up there. Like, as a father myself, I would never want my son going to a school like that. You definitely know who he is. He's probably the best drummer we've had. Well, most definitely the best drummer at that school. Well, I'm going to get off this negative topic because I'm getting upset talking about it, but I just had to speak my piece on it. I know a lot of people are probably left wondering how I felt upon leaving Ignite Middle School. Probably one of the best decisions I made. And get this. After I resigned from Ignite Middle School, I was banned from seeing the 8th graders graduate. And I promised those kids my second year in teaching, because I wanted to leave after my second year. I promised those kids that I would watch them. I would stick around long enough to see them all graduate from Ignite Middle School. And that was taken from me by principal and AP. I was banned from their graduation. But yeah, I'm getting a little aggravated talking about it. So I just wanted to give my little spill and my opinion on that matter. Yeah. Hold on real quick. Yo, I did not mention names for a reason. But yes, and he's still up there. He's still, yeah. All right. With that said, I figured it out. I'll see y'all later. I'm gonna talk about boxing next video. Y'all be easy.